Hi guys, don't you want Hindurashtra? Or do you fear it? Do you really know what Hindurashtra implies? Most people when they hear the word Hindurashtra, they immediately imagine a Saudi Arabia type society run by Hindus, where all Muslims will either be kicked out or be made to live like third class citizens. There's two problems with that. One, you are merely extrapolating the Saudi model on India without any logical foundation for your argument. For some reason, you fear the Saudi model so much that you think Hindurashtra will mean the same thing. You know what your fear of Saudi Arabia makes you? An Islamophobe. Okay, anyway, the second problem with this idea is that the general misconception around the word fundamentalist. How a fundamentalist of a religion will behave depends only and only on the fundamentals of that religion. Therefore, if the fundamentals of dharma is the polar opposite of Abrahamic faiths, then the fundamentalists of the dharmic faith systems also end up operating differently. Now, in the light of this context, what do you think will be the nature of Hindurashtra? Shouldn't you be studying what the proponents of this idea have said, as opposed to randomly conjuring up Saudi Arabian extrapolations? Let me put forward to you the argument that a Hindurashtra would be better for everyone. To further that argument, we should be looking at what all the people demanding Hindurashtra have said, but for today, let's just look at what were the fundamental rights that had been provided by the Hindu Mahasabha in their draft constitution for what they called the Hindustan Free State. Before that, just give me one more minute, let me make two additional points in support of this claim. First, Muslim organizations in Nepal have joined the rest of their population in demanding that Nepal be turned into a Hindurashtra, because in the current system, poor Muslims are falling prey to predatory proselytization and conversions to Christians. And secondly, in my opinion, only a Hindurashtra can ensure the survival of Hindus. You can debate me on that, but that's a separate topic altogether. My additional point based on this claim is that unless Hindus survive, India too doesn't survive. At least not without a gigantic bloodbath and civil war of biblical proportions. Why? Because if we're talking about the hypothetical situation where Hindus have become a negligible minority in India, like other indigenous populations everywhere else on earth, India will be a battleground between Muslims and Christians. And if you think a possible population distribution of 60% Muslims and 40% Christians will survive peacefully, you need to go back to school immediately and study world history right from scratch. Okay, now, as for the Hindu Mahasabha's constitution, first let me tell you what the Center for Policy and Law Research, or CPLR, said about it. Just for context, this CPLR is a liberal think tank founded by Frederick Naumann Foundation for Freedom. Anytime you come across, this is not founded by, they are funded by Frederick Naumann Foundation for Freedom. Anytime you come across a foundation with the words liberal, democracy or freedom, you must know that it's some white liberal cultural Marxist crap being peddled with cool words and names. So anyway, even such an organization had this to say about the Hindu Mahasabha draft constitution. I'm quoting them now. The Hindustan constitution is distinct from other Indian historical constitutions in one major way. It did not provide for any social, economic or political affirmative action measures whatsoever. There was no mention of separate electorates or reservations for any religious or marginalized community. It contained another relatively unique provision. Citizens had the right to recall their elected representatives. Now, I'm pretty sure they meant the first part as a criticism, but I'm too old to be a leftist now, so I absolutely love this part. And notice the second part. In the hypothetical Hindustan Free State, you could hold elections in between your neta's tenure and vote to kick him out, saying, "Beta, bahut ho gaya, tumse na ho paega, ab wapas aao." And now, let me present to you the fundamental rights that you would have if you were a citizen of the Hindustan Free State. Firstly, who is a citizen? That has been defined. Every person without distinction of sex domiciled within the limits of the jurisdiction of the Hindustan Free State at the date of the coming into operation of this constitution, who as born in Hindustan or either of whose parents who has born in Hindustan or who has be ordinarily resident within the limits of the jurisdiction, the Hindustan Free State for not less than 7 years, is a citizen of the Hindustan Free State and shall within such limits enjoy the rights and privileges and be subject to the obligations of such citizenship, provided that any such person being a citizen of another state may elect not to accept the citizenship hereby offered, and the conditions governing the future acquisition or termination of citizenship in the Hindustan Free State shall be determined by law. Now, their fundamental rights. The fundamental rights of all citizens of the Hindustan Free State shall be as under. All men and women have equal rights as citizens. All citizens are equal before the law and possess equal civil rights. There shall be no law, civil or penal, substantive or procedural, of a discriminative nature. All citizens have an equal right of access to and use of public roads, public wells, and all other places of public resort. All citizens have the right to a free elementary education and of admission into any educational institution maintained or aided by the state is without any distinction of caste, color, or creed. Every citizen shall have the right to keep and bear arms in accordance with the regulations made in that behalf. The state shall make suitable laws for the maintenance of health and fitness for work of all citizens, securing of a living wage for every worker, the protection of motherhood, welfare of children, and the economic consequences of old age, infirmity, and unemployment. And the state shall also make laws to ensure fair rent and fixity and permanence of tenure to agricultural tenants. All persons are by nature equally free and independent and have certain inherent rights vis-à-vis the enjoyment of life and liberty with the means of acquiring and possessing property and pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety without any exploitation of man by man. This is called negative rights. The liberty of the person is inviolable, and no one shall be deprived of his liberty of person except in accordance with law. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be denied to any person unless in case of rebellion or invasion the public safety requires such denial, and then only in such manner as shall be prescribed by law. No person's dwelling or property shall be entered, sequestered, or confiscated save in accordance with law. The right of free expression of opinion, as well as the right to assemble peacefully and without arms, and to form associations or unions, is hereby guaranteed for purposes not opposed to public order or morality. Freedom of conscience and the free profession and free profession and practice of religion, and the protection of culture and language are subject to public order and morality, guaranteed to every citizen, and no law shall be made either directly or indirectly to endow any religion or prohibit or restrict the free exercise thereof, or give any preference or impose any disability on account of religious belief or religious statute. No person attending any school receiving state aid or other public money shall be compelled to attend the religious instruction that may be given in the school. No person shall, by reason of his color, caste, or creed, be prejudiced in any way in regard to public employment, office of power or honor, and the exercise of any profession, trade, or calling. No public money or property shall ever be appropriated, applied, donated, or used directly or indirectly for the use, benefit, or support of any sect, denomination, sectarian institution, or association or system of religion, or for charitable, industrial, educational, or benevolent purposes not under the control of the state. There shall be no state religion for the Hindustan Free State or for any of its provinces. Every citizen shall have the right to petition to the Supreme Court in respect of any infringement of his fundamental rights, and the decision of the said court shall be final and binding on him, the state and the provinces concerned. Well, I know what you're thinking and feeling. I felt it too for the first time. The first time I read it, which was this morning. We really missed out on some good shit, didn't we? And what are the negative rights and positive rights? Negative right means I have the right to not be done something to me. Positive rights mean I have the right to something else, that something belongs to someone else, which is like welfare and stuff. Even this constitution is kind of socialist. It guarantees a lot of free stuff, but that was just the order of the day in those days. Everyone was a socialist. Cultural right-wingers were socialists, Congress was socialists, and socialists were socialists. Everyone wanted free stuff. Everyone wanted strong unions and stuff. Everyone thought of nationalizing banks. Even Savarkar was a socialist by that standard. Economically, everyone was a left-wing. But my point is that it wasn't bad or anything, right? It wasn't non-secular, it wasn't oppressive, it wasn't Saudi Arabia, and it was as socialist as everyone in India wanted the country to be. So, well, perhaps another time, another day.